I think it was like something lemonade, cherry lemonade. Yes. Okay, hi Merv. Um, okay, so it looks like Miss Hester wants to go over different types of sentences with y'all. And this is something we did when I was there. If she will let you look back in your journals, here's where you can find things. So we took notes on simple sentences in the pink pages. We took notes on compound sentences on the yellow pages, and we took notes on complex sentences on green pages. So when she says that a simple sentence is made up of one independent clause, what she's talking about is that has it has two things. It's going to have a subject and it's going to have a predicate. It's just going to have one subject and one predicate. And remember, we learned that the fancy word for noun is subject. At the beginning of the year, we just called these nouns. And the fancy word for verbs is predicate. At the beginning of the year, we just learned they're called verbs. But later, we learned that they were called subjects and predicates. And then something else we did together is we always circled subjects or nouns, and we always underlined predicates or verbs. So let's try to do that in the first sentence. So sentence number 1 says, fast food restaurants and healthy meals rarely go together. So in order to figure out the noun of a sentence, you have to ask yourself the question, who or what? And whatever word or words answer the question, who or what, will be your noun or your subject. So if I said to you, fast food restaurants and healthy meals rarely go together, I could ask you, well, what rarely goes together? And you would say fast food restaurants and healthy meals. And so that's how you would know that this is a subject. Fast food restaurants and healthy meals rarely go together. So then you have to ask yourself, what do they do in this sentence? And in this sentence, it says they rarely go together. So go is going to be your verb. And so because we only have one subject and one predicate, we know that this is a simple sentence. This is a simple sentence because it has one subject and one predicate. Okay, let's look at sentence number 2. So sentence number 2, we're again going to do the same thing where we look for nouns, verbs, subjects, and predicates. Okay, so let's see. So it says a fried chicken sandwich packs an enormous number of calories and fat. So what question do we ask ourselves to figure out the noun? Well, the question we ask ourselves is who or what. So what packs an enormous number of calories? Well, the answer to that question is a fried chicken sandwich. So we're going to circle that. We know we have one noun. And what does it do? It packs. So that's our verb. So we have one noun and one verb. Then we look after the comma and we see that it says, and a fried fish sandwich is no better. Well, what is no better? The answer to that question is a fried fish sandwich. So that's going to be your subject. And the verb here is the word is. So remember how in sentence 1 we had one subject and one predicate? Well, you can see in sentence 2 we have a subject predicate followed by a comma and a fanboy. And then we have another subject and predicate. So when you have two subjects and two predicates, so when you have two independent clauses, they are going to be connected by a fanboy and a comma. Then you know that that is a compound sentence. So that's a CS, a compound sentence. Let's look at a different type of sentence now. We're going to look at complex sentences. So complex sentence has an independent clause and a dependent clause. And remember we learned that an independent clause is the difference between an independent clause and dependent clause is that an independent clause can stand by itself. It's like an independent woman. It doesn't need a man. Well, a dependent clause cannot stand by itself. A dependent clause has a word in front of it that makes it dependent. So we're going to look at sentence number 5. Sentence number 5 says, even though U.S. government regulations require the nutritional charts be posted on the wall of public areas in every fast food restaurant, consumers often ignore the information. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look for a subject and a predicate. So it says, even though the U.S. government regulations require that nutritional charts be posted on the wall, we're going to ask ourselves who or what requires, and the answer to that question is U.S. government regulations. So we're going to circle that. We're going to circle that. So that's our subject. And what do? They require that nutrition charts be posted on the wall in public areas of every fast food restaurant. So that looks like it's a simple sentence, but it has something in front of it that makes it a dependent clause. It has that thing we called a bus waiter. So anytime you have a bus waiter in front, now it's a dependent clause. Then after the comma, you see that it says consumers often ignore the information. And so what often ignores the information? Well, consumers. And what do? They often ignore. So consumers is our subject and often ignore is our predicate. So here we have a dependent clause followed by a comma and then an independent clause. And whenever you have that, you have something called a complex sentence. Okay, hopefully that helped, but of course you can holler at me. We can do a Zoom later if I can be helpful. Oh, and are you coming to the thing tonight? There's a thing at the same place that you came to last week with Josephine. So hopefully you guys are coming. I can't wait to see you later. Okay, love you. Bye.